Like most other 7-year-old girls, Nataleigh Hartman likes playing softball, riding her bike, and playing with her brothers and sisters. The second child in a family of 3 girls and 1 boy, Nataleigh loves spending time with her family. She also loves food.
Doritos, cupcake, zucchini muffins.
In addition to being one of the top students in her 2nd grade class this year, the other thing Nataleigh excels at is beating cancer. At just 16 months of age, Nataleigh was given the diagnosis of acute lymphoblastic leukemia, better known as ALL, a type of cancer of the blood and bone marrow. Even with her mother, Janelle, being a nurse, she was still shocked at her daughter's diagnosis.
Nataleigh had been running a fever for about 5 days, and I'm a nurse, so I wasn't too concerned about it. I just thought she had some viral infection. About the 5th day is when Doug convinced me we should call the doctor. We took her in for some blood work, and that evening then the doctor had called and read over the lab work with us. And
the doctor called and I answered the phone, and she asked which hospital that we would have our insurance would cover, and I said any hospital. So she asked that we go to St. V's to see the oncologist, hematologist. And when she started talking, I handed the phone to Janelle. I didn't understand what she was talking about. And I watched Janelle talk to her, and I saw her start to cry. So I knew there was some problem. And the pediatrician talked about leukemia, but I don't think we ever really considered that.
Nataleigh began treatment immediately. The day after she was diagnosed, she went into surgery to have a port put into her chest. She continued her chemotherapy regimen for the next 2.5 years.
And that first week then, she had her port placed. We had taken her to surgery, and I remember she was only 16 months old. She hadn't started talking yet, so she didn't even say mama. But we handed her over to the surgery team, and she just kept doing that to come get me. And that whole week was us holding her down, and she was getting a lot of IVs and a lot of different medications, and it got to the point where if the door opened, she became very fearful and afraid of what was going to happen. And our carefree little girl went from running around and laughing a few days ago to, being upset and crying anytime someone opened the door because she didn't know what was going to happen to her.
Doug, a Bowling Green City police officer, felt hopeless. He wanted to do something to get involved. He attended a local meeting for the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society's Team and Training Program. Within a month of Nataleigh starting chemotherapy, Doug had signed up to start raising money for blood cancer research as he trained for his first marathon.
I had found Team and Training, Leukemia and Lymphoma Society, and I saw it, and I immediately called my sister and I asked her if she wanted to sign up to train for the Cleveland Half Marathon in 2007. And doing so, you raise money to help find a cure. And my sister was like, yep, let's do it. So within a month of her diagnosis, we're sitting at a meeting in Perrysburg, and we're signing up for the training, and they do group runs once a week, and you're supposed to train for the 6 months. I had no clue on the enormity of the treatment and what it was going to take. I went to the first team training and ran a couple miles, I think. But after that, I didn't run again until that was November of 2006. The next time I really ran was May of 2007 when I'm standing at the start line of the marathon, and my sister, who had trained throughout the entire time, ran with me first mile, and then she took off. And I finished it. I ran the first 9 miles, I think, on all emotion and adrenaline, but after that 9th mile, I hit the wall and I was cramping up. I stopped and sat down, and I think I probably cried a few times. But
You've done 4 since?
Yeah, I've done 4 since. Janelle signed up. She actually just did the Cincinnati full marathon this past May. Completed under 5 hours.
Thank you.
Nataleigh ended her treatment officially in December 2008. She's remained cancer-free, and this December will mark her 5-year mark, which technically means she has been cured. She still goes to the doctor for checkups every 6 months. In addition to having a strong mind and body to overcome cancer, she also has a strong little personality, especially evident when she recently wrote a letter to her principal.
It said, "Dear Mr. Carver, I feel it is imperative that summer release and I, Nataleigh Hartman, remain together in the 3rd grade. We have been together since preschool. We may experience separation anxiety if you split us up. Thank you for your consideration. It's a very important matter."
Natalie's come a long way, and her journey and story are exactly the type of story that need to be shared to help inspire others. The Northern Ohio chapter of the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society is proud to have Nataleigh Hartman as the inaugural Girl of the Year for 2013.
It was in a magazine. Thank you so much for helping raise money for kids like me.
Elijah Elder was a happy, healthy, active 6-year-old in April of 2012. He was in the 1st grade, taking swimming lessons, playing Little League football, and always roughhousing with his 2 younger brothers. One morning, his mom Victoria went to get him ready for swimming lessons, and she noticed something strange.
We were getting Elijah ready for swim lessons that day on a Monday afternoon after school, and I noticed all these spots all over his body, and I didn't think they were normal, so I called my husband's brother up to come and watch the 2 younger boys, and I got to the urgent care with Elijah, and I asked the nurses outside. I lifted up his shirt. I was like, "Ladies, I'm worried. I don't know what's going on, but what does this look like?" The ladies outside told me that it looked like allergic reaction underneath his skin. And I trusted them because they were nurses. So they told me to just give him Benadryl, and that's what I did. I gave him Benadryl, and he took the Benadryl. He slept from that afternoon until the next morning, and he woke up just fine. And he was like, "Yeah, I feel just fine. I want to go to school." So I sent him to school. So the school calls me and tells me that Elijah's not feeling good and he's throwing up. And so we get home and he was like, "Mommy, I feel fine." I was like, "Okay." Well, not even 5 minutes at home and he pukes all over the floor in the bedroom. So I called his pediatrician right away, and she told me that to get him as soon as I can. They had an opening in 5 minutes. So I got him there, not even 5 minutes in the office with her looking at the spots in his ear and his mouth and his nose. She sent me right over to St. V's.
In just a few short hours, Elijah went from being a normal 1st grader to being a cancer patient at Toledo St. Vincent Mercy Medical Center.
She told me that it was petechiae, but she didn't want to stress me out with anything else, so she sent me on my way with just telling me it was petechiae. So as I'm driving him there, I'm looking up petechiae, wondering what it is, and it was just crazy. So I got to the hospital and they drew blood work, and that's when the doctors came from upstairs ICU center to come down and get Elijah. And they sent Elijah up, and all the doctors came in. I was sitting there alone, and they told me he had some form of cancer. His cells didn't look normal. So I had to call his dad and my husband and everybody to tell them what's going on. And the next day they did his spinal and his bone marrow, and then the next day after that we found out that he had ALL.
Elijah spent the next few weeks in the hospital undergoing surgery and chemotherapy. Instead of days filled with carefree play outside with his brothers, he now had routine visits from oncologists, hematologists, pediatric surgeons, and many nurses on a daily basis while in the hospital. The physical changes that Elijah underwent were hard for everyone to watch.
There's a lot of changes because we were there for a while, and every day it was something different that they had to do to him. Like at first he had to get blood, he had to get platelets, he had to get tons of different things through his system. He had to get surgery for his port. I think I only left the hospital maybe once or twice while he was in the hospital, and I don't know, it was really hard watching him go through all that. But he was so strong during the whole thing. Like, he never cried to go home. He just knew he had to get better. One day he got mail from all of his friends from school, and he was so excited about it. But I think one of the hardest part was when I saw him lose his hair, because then it just hit you, and it was hard when you took him anywhere because everyone would just stare at him.
He didn't seem scared or nothing. Kind of like, that's just how kids are, I guess. They don't, like she said, he just knew he was sick and he had to get better. He didn't really understand, I guess, what was going on, to the full effect that we did.
Elijah's spirit remained the same throughout his first year of treatment. One of the highlights of this past year of many hard times was Elijah meeting his idols on the football field. In October, right around his 7th birthday, Elijah was able to spend the day of practice with the Detroit Lions through the Make-A-Wish Foundation. He gave his favorite player, wide receiver Calvin Johnson, a bracelet with his name on it, and Calvin continued to wear it during games last season.
I got the score and touchdown, and he wears it every single game.
Who does?
Kelvin?
Calvin Johnson. Where's your bracelet?
Yeah, he wears it on this hand.
Do you see it on TV? Is that cool? That's pretty cool.
With his first year of treatment down and 2 more to go, Elijah is now hopeful to return to the football field and his teammates in the near future. He already has returned to the classroom. In January of this year, he returned to first grade at his new school in Maumee. And he also had another exciting thing happen this year. His hair grew back, fast.
When his hair came back, I think we felt more comfortable taking him out so people wouldn't sit there and stare at us.
I got it back in 2012, which was September.
The road to recovery is still long for Elijah. He recently spent time in the hospital because of blood counts being low, but he's determined to not let minor setbacks keep him down. Elijah's treatment plan is to continue the maintenance stage of his chemotherapy regimen through the year 2015. Seems far off, but his family is optimistic about Elijah's future.
He knows how long he's going to be in treatment. He's excited because we're going to take him on a trip. Hopefully, whenever he gets his port out, hopefully a week later, we're going to take him on a huge trip to Disney World.
The Northern Ohio chapter of the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society is proud to have Elijah Elder as the inaugural Boy of the Year for 2013.
Thank you, everyone, for supporting kids like me.
Elijah Elder and Nataleigh Hartman, symbols of hope and inspiration for so many. The 2013 Boy and Girl of the Year.
We want to thank the candidates for all their time and their effort and, being able to raise all the money for the LLS and blood cancer research. We wanted to share Eli's story to make sure that, people know that there's other people out there that they can share their stories with, like us. Just like when we initially found out, and we think that it's only ever happened to you, and there's a lot of different people out there that can help you along the way, and a lot of societies like yours, and that you're not alone in this battle at all. So there's a lot of things out there that people can do to help and contribute, and we want to make sure that all the kids out there, or anybody affected by these diseases, get the help that they deserve and that they need.
We're hoping that people see Nataleig's face and see how healthy she is and how happy she is. The families that are going through this with their own kids, and it will let them believe that next year will be better, or the year after that will be better, because it was such a long road, the treatment was. So we hope by having her picture out there and her face out there, it will just let other moms know that they'll get through it, and other parents know that they'll get through it, and it will be all worth it in the end.
Thank you for giving my bear a good home.